Welcome to Income Fund Fundas, a unique show simplifying debt markets hosted by yours truly Sunil Javeri and brought to you by Axis Mutual Fund. Today's query by a viewer is what determines direction of interest rate movements? How do we gauge whether interest rates are going up or down? A very interesting question, but a little lengthy answer. Please bear with me. Understanding debt market and its constituents and what determines interest rate movements. Interest rate movements get determined by the total credit in the system. That total credit in the system further gets divided into external credit and internal credit. External credit is what we talk about as current account deficit. Because India is an import dependent country, which we have explained in one of our earlier episodes, we tend to have current account deficit on an ongoing basis, and that puts pressure on rupee, in turn pressure on imported inflation, and in turn pressure on interest rate movements. Higher the current account deficit, there will be a pressure on interest going upwards. On the internal side, it further gets subdivided into private sector credit and public sector or government credit. Private sector credit is nothing but the credit growth in the system, as in when private sector starts borrowing more for the capital expenditure, working capital, etc., there is pressure on the liquidity from the private sector side, and that's when credit growth is on the higher side and interest rates tend to go up during that period. As far as the government credit is concerned, it gets determined by what we have already discussed, the fiscal deficit, the difference between the government's expenditure and the government revenues. Higher the fiscal deficit, the interest rates will be on the higher side because of demand on liquidity, the borrowing which is on the higher side by the government sector. So as you can understand, there is a correlation of interest rate movements to the entire credit in the system, the way I have explained to you through the external credit and the internal credit also. Hope viewers have understood the interrelation between different constituents of debt market and how interest rate movements tend to go up or go down based on some of these constituents. Thank you so much. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.